State Senator Bob Hertzberg says lawmakers heard unbelievable anecdotes before California launched its traffic ticket amnesty in late 2015.
Somebody jumped a fare for $1.50, and as a consequence, ended up having thousands of dollars of fines. Somebody who had a broken tail light who didn't correct it, they lost their license, and they got caught for driving without a license, and they had fines on top of fines.
And for people already barely making it, not having a driver's license only intensified their burden.
People who couldn't go get their medicine, or people who couldn't take their kids to school. Extraordinary stories that we heard throughout this process of hardship and just ridiculous fines.
All told, Hertzberg says the state had $10 billion in unpaid traffic tickets. Trying to recoup the money was a losing endeavor. The spirit of the amnesty program was to give people a break. But criminal defense attorney Liz Aronson contends that intent is being ignored in San Diego County. Aronson says hundreds of people with traffic tickets have complained to her office over the last 2 years that their applications for amnesty are being returned as incomplete. Aronson says the court's collection agency, Alliance One, is doing the rejection.
Then when they're rejected and you start fighting with them over it, they say, well, you need to refile.
Aronson says even after refiling, people applying for amnesty get little resolution.
And then they say, oh, it's at the bottom of a pile and you can't check on it.
Unica Smith says she's applied for amnesty but was rejected, she says, without good reason. She says her license was suspended because she couldn't pay off her traffic tickets. She says she just got a new job at a hospital and needs to drive for work.
I mean, my hand's not out. I'm willing to do it. I don't have a problem with doing it and making things better for changes, but I need some help. I'll never have my license if I don't be able to get that.
Aronson says she's worried because the last day to apply for amnesty is March 31st. Only people who received tickets due by the beginning of 2013 have a suspended driver's license and are paying off tickets qualify for amnesty. They can receive up to an 80% reduction on what they owe. Aronson believes Alliance One is deliberately shutting people out of amnesty.
They get 10% under the court's contract of anything they collect. If they give amnesty, obviously they're not going to collect that 10%. So what would be their motivation in allowing people to have amnesty?
Alliance One refused to respond to repeated requests for comment. Mike Roddy is the executive officer of the San Diego Superior Court and oversees the operation of the amnesty program in the county. He says it's his job to make sure Alliance One is acting appropriately.
I've not heard any of these complaints. My office hasn't received anything in this regard, so it's difficult for me to step in and answer without looking into the facts. And right now you're telling me some things that are frankly new. I've not heard any of these issues.
Aronson says she has complained numerous times to court commissioners at all of the county's 4 traffic courts. She says commissioners in Vista, Chula Vista, and El Cajon try to help her clients. But she says commissioners in Kearney Mesa tell her she will have to deal with Alliance One. Aronson says the collection agency knows it holds all the power because people can't get their driver's licenses back unless they pay off their debt.
I have heard Alliance One clerks actually tell folks that they should go out and get credit cards and put the entire amount on the credit card and then deal with the credit card agency.
San Diego Superior Court's presiding judge, Jeff Barton, says that advice from Alliance One is within the, quote, best practices provided by the Judicial Council, the state's highest policy-making body.
One of those is to provide the ability to people to use credit cards or debit cards in addition to cash, checks, or other methods of paying it. How someone takes that advice and whether they follow it and whether that's a good financial decision depends on the needs of the individual.
But Senator Hertzberg says that advice is flawed.
The idea is not to get cash in the door. The idea is to have a fair process to people with an amnesty program to get paid. It's a fair process to get their license back as quickly as possible and not to put them under pressure to use a credit card, which was never the intent of this program.
Hertzberg recently pitched a bill to stop automatic suspension of driver's licenses for people who are unable to pay fines for minor traffic tickets. After all, he says once a license is suspended, people can't drive to work to earn the money to pay off their tickets. Amita Sharma, KPBS News.